Welcome to Quiet Night Chronicles. Tonight, we embark on a gentle journey to the windswept landscapes of ancient Celtic lands, where our ancestors created some of humanity's most enduring and peaceful timepieces. These weren't clocks that ticked or chimed, but silent circles of standing stones that marked the slow, eternal dance of sun, moon, and stars across the seasons. Picture yourself standing in a quiet field as dawn breaks over the Scottish Highlands. The morning mist clings to ancient stones that have stood sentinel for over 4,000 years, their weathered surfaces catching the first golden rays of sunlight. These are the astronomical calendar stones of the Celtic world, monuments to human patience and precision that continue their silent vigil today. In the soft light of early morning, imagine the ring of Brodgar in Orkney, where 27 massive stones rise from the heather-covered landscape. Once, 60 stones formed this perfect circle, each one positioned with mathematical precision around 2500 to 2000 BCE. The ancient builders of this monument understood something profound about the movements of celestial bodies, knowledge that they encoded in stone for future generations to decipher. These Celtic astronomical stones represent more than mere construction projects. They embody a deep, meditative understanding of time itself. The builders spent decades, perhaps centuries, observing the subtle patterns of sun and moon, noting how shadows fell differently with each passing season, how certain stars appeared and disappeared in predictable cycles. This patient observation required a kind of focused tranquility that we can barely imagine in our hurried modern world. Consider the gentle precision required to align these massive stones with celestial events. Each placement demanded careful calculation, patient observation, and unwavering dedication to accuracy that would serve not just the current generation, but their children and grandchildren for millennia to come. The stones were positioned to create natural viewing frames, windows through which ancient astronomers could watch the cosmic ballet unfold with seasonal regularity. As we explore these peaceful monuments tonight, we'll discover how Celtic communities across Britain, Ireland, and Brittany developed sophisticated systems for tracking time through stone. We'll wander through misty moorlands where ancient circles still stand, learn about the quiet daily observations that informed their construction, and understand how these silent timepieces guided the agricultural rhythms that sustained entire civilizations. Let us begin our journey at one of the most precisely aligned stone circles in the Celtic world. The Callanish stones on the Isle of Lewis stand like ancient sentinels against the backdrop of Scottish moorland, their tall forms creating dramatic silhouettes against the ever-changing sky. Built around 2900 BCE, these stones were positioned with extraordinary care to capture one of the rarest celestial events visible from Earth. Imagine the ancient astronomers who first recognized that the moon follows an 18.5-year cycle, during which its rising and setting points shift slowly across the horizon. At the peak of this cycle, called the major lunar standstill, the moon reaches its most southerly setting position, an event that occurs only once in a generation. The builders of Callanish aligned their main stone avenue precisely to frame this rare moonset, creating a celestial calendar that could mark the passage of nearly 2 decades with a single dramatic observation. The main stone avenue at Callanish stretches northward from the central circle, its carefully spaced monoliths creating a natural corridor that guides the eye towards specific points on the horizon. When the major southern moonset occurs, the moon appears to roll along the hills, known as the Sleeping Beauty, as if the ancient landscape itself participates in this cosmic theatre. The sight must have been breathtaking for the Celtic astronomers who waited patiently through the long northern nights to witness this celestial punctuation mark. This level of astronomical sophistication required generations of careful observation and record-keeping. The builders couldn't simply erect the stones and wait. They needed to understand the complex cycles of lunar motion, predict when the standstill would occur, and position their monument with sufficient accuracy to capture the event for centuries to come. Such precision suggests not only advanced mathematical understanding, but also a culture that valued long-term planning and patient observation above immediate gratification. Now let us turn our attention to the daily rhythms that these stone circles captured with equal precision. While the lunar standstill at Callanish marked rare, generation-spanning events, most Celtic astronomical stones were designed to track the more familiar cycles of the sun throughout the year. These solar alignments provided practical information for agricultural communities, marking the optimal times for planting, harvesting, and preparing for the changing seasons. The positioning of stones to capture solstice and equinox events required a different kind of precision, but no less careful observation. Ancient astronomers needed to identify the exact points on the horizon where the sun would rise or set on these crucial dates, then position massive stones to frame these celestial moments year after year. The winter solstice, marking the longest night and the promise of returning light, held particular significance for northern communities facing months of darkness and cold. Many Celtic stone circles feature recumbent stones, massive horizontal blocks positioned to create natural windows for astronomical observation. These recumbent stones often weigh several tons and were carefully shaped and positioned to frame specific celestial events. The recumbent stone circle tradition is particularly strong in northeastern Scotland, where over 90 such circles once stood, each one oriented to capture particular astronomical alignments with mathematical precision. Imagine standing beside one of these recumbent stones on a clear winter morning, watching as the sun rises through the stone frame exactly on the winter solstice. The ancient builders created these viewing windows so precisely that the solar alignment would repeat year after year, century after century, providing a reliable calendar that required no maintenance or adjustment. The stone frame would fill with golden light at exactly the right moment, marking the turn of the season with natural drama that reinforced the connection between earth and sky. Beyond the grand circles that capture our imagination, Celtic astronomical traditions included countless smaller stone settings that served local communities with quiet efficiency. These intimate arrangements, sometimes consisting of just 3 or 4 carefully placed stones, demonstrate that astronomical observation wasn't limited to major ceremonial centers, but extended into the daily life of farming communities across the Celtic world. The 4 stones near Walton in Radnorshire exemplify this more modest approach to celestial timekeeping. These unpretentious markers, weathered by centuries of Welsh rain and wind, once provided local farmers with reliable seasonal indicators. The stones are positioned to mark specific solar events throughout the year, creating a simple but effective calendar that could guide agricultural decisions without requiring complex calculations or specialized knowledge. These smaller stone settings reveal the democratic nature of Celtic astronomical knowledge, while the great circles, like Stonehenge and Callanish, might have required specialized astronomer priests to interpret their complex alignments. The smaller stone calendars could be read by anyone familiar with their basic principles. A farmer could glance at the shadow patterns around the local stones and know whether it was time to begin spring plowing or prepare for the autumn harvest. The simplicity of these smaller settings shouldn't obscure their sophisticated underlying astronomy. Even a three-stone arrangement required careful observation to identify the correct solar positions, precise surveying to align the stones properly, and ongoing verification to ensure the alignments remained accurate over time. The mathematics might have been simpler than those governing the great circles, but the same patient precision and generational thinking informed their construction. Regional variations in Celtic stone circle traditions reflect both local astronomical conditions and cultural preferences that developed over centuries of independent observation. The stone circles of Cornwall, for instance, tend to be smaller and more numerous than their Scottish counterparts, reflecting perhaps a more decentralized approach to community astronomy. These Cornish circles often feature complex internal arrangements of smaller stones that may have served as calculating devices for predicting lunar eclipses or tracking planetary movements. In Ireland, the tradition of passage graves like Newgrange represents another approach to astronomical architecture, where the interior chambers of massive earthen mounds are aligned to capture specific solar events. The winter solstice sunrise at Newgrange creates one of archaeology's most dramatic moments, as a shaft of golden light penetrates the tomb's narrow entrance passage and illuminates the inner chamber for exactly 17 minutes. This precision required not only accurate astronomical knowledge, but also sophisticated engineering to maintain the alignment through the tomb's complex construction. The cup and ring marks, carved into many Irish stones, may represent another layer of astronomical record-keeping, possibly serving as star maps or lunar counting systems. These simple circular carvings, pecked into stone surfaces with patient persistence, might have functioned as portable astronomical references that could be consulted during cloudy periods when direct celestial observation was impossible. The creation of these markings required hours of careful work with simple stone tools, representing another form of meditative precision that characterized Celtic astronomical practices. Brittany's stone alignments, such as those at Carnac, demonstrate yet another regional approach to astronomical observation, where long rows of standing stones create complex sighting systems for tracking multiple celestial cycles simultaneously. These vast arrays of stones, stretching for kilometers across the Breton landscape, represent perhaps the most ambitious astronomical projects undertaken by Celtic communities, requiring coordination between multiple settlements and generations of sustained effort. The meditative precision required for multi-generational astronomical observations shaped Celtic communities in profound ways that extended far beyond simple timekeeping. The long-term thinking necessary to plan and build these stone calendars fostered a culture that valued patience, accuracy, and collective memory. Young astronomers learned not just to observe celestial movements, but to think in terms of decades and centuries, understanding that their work would only reach fruition long after their own lives had ended. This generational perspective influenced how Celtic communities approached many aspects of life beyond astronomy. The same patient precision that guided stone circle construction appeared in other areas of Celtic culture, from the intricate metalwork that required years to master to the complex oral traditions that preserved historical and mythological knowledge across centuries without written records. The astronomical stones represented visible symbols of this long-term thinking, monuments to the power of sustained collective effort. The construction process itself required forms of social cooperation and technical expertise that strengthened community bonds. Moving and positioning the massive stones demanded coordinated effort from many people, while the astronomical observations required specialized knowledge that was carefully transmitted from master to student over many years. The stone circles thus served as focal points for both practical cooperation and intellectual development, strengthening the social fabric of Celtic communities. Archaeological evidence suggests that many stone circles were built and refined over centuries, with stones being repositioned as astronomical knowledge became more precise. This ongoing refinement process reveals communities that remained actively engaged with their astronomical heritage, continuously improving their celestial calendars, rather than simply maintaining static monuments. The willingness to move massive stones to achieve better alignments demonstrates the high value placed on astronomical accuracy. The agricultural timing provided by Celtic astronomical stones formed the foundation of sustainable farming practices that supported stable communities for millennia. Understanding the optimal timing for various farming activities was crucial for survival in the challenging climates of Northern and Western Europe, where mistiming could result in crop failure and famine. The stone calendars provided reliable, maintenance-free timing systems that could guide agricultural decisions even during periods of political turmoil or social disruption. Spring planting required particularly precise timing, as seeds planted too early might be killed by late frosts, while those planted too late might not mature before the first autumn freeze. The stone calendars could indicate the optimal planting window with remarkable accuracy, taking into account not only the solar calendar, but also local climate patterns that varied from region to region. Farmers could observe the position of sunrise relative to specific stones and know exactly when soil conditions and weather patterns would be optimal for different crops. Harvest timing was equally critical, especially for communities that needed to gather and preserve food for the long winter months. The stone calendars could indicate when grains had reached optimal ripeness, when fruits were ready for gathering, and when hay should be cut for maximum nutritional value. This precise timing helped communities maximize their food security while minimizing waste, crucial factors for survival in subsistence agricultural societies. The stones also guided seasonal activities beyond basic agriculture, such as livestock management, food preservation, and preparation for winter. Knowing exactly when to breed animals for optimal spring births, when to begin preserving meats and vegetables, and when to gather fuel for winter fires could mean the difference between comfortable survival and desperate privation. The astronomical calendars embedded these crucial timing decisions in permanent stone monuments that would serve the community indefinitely. Seasonal festivals and religious observances were often timed according to the same astronomical markers that guided agricultural activities, creating integrated systems where practical farming needs aligned with spiritual and social celebrations. The winter solstice, marking both the astronomical turn toward longer days and the practical midpoint of winter food stores, became a natural focus for community gatherings that reinforced social bonds during the most challenging season. Consider the quiet satisfaction of Celtic farmers who could rely on their stone calendars with complete confidence, knowing that generations of careful observation had refined these timing systems to mathematical precision. Unlike modern calendars that require constant updating and adjustment, the stone calendars would continue providing accurate seasonal guidance for thousands of years, without any maintenance or intervention. This reliability fostered a deep sense of connection between human communities and the natural cycles that sustained them. The enduring silence of these ancient timepieces speaks to us across the millennia, with a voice that transcends cultural and linguistic barriers. Standing among the weathered stones today, we can still witness the same astronomical events that captivated our Celtic ancestors, see the same sunrise alignments that guided their agricultural decisions, and feel the same sense of wonder at the precise choreography of celestial movements that inspired their monumental constructions. These stone circles continue their patient vigil, marking solstices and equinoxes with the same precision they demonstrated 4,000 years ago. The winter solstice sun still rises through the carefully positioned stones at Newgrange, filling the ancient chamber with golden light for exactly 17 minutes. The major lunar standstill still occurs at Callanish every 18.5 years, as predictable now as it was when Celtic astronomers first recognized this rare celestial cycle. The mathematical accuracy embedded in these stone monuments represents one of humanity's earliest triumphs in applied astronomy, achieved without telescopes, computers, or written calculations. Using only patient observation, simple measuring tools, and profound dedication to precision, Celtic communities created calendars that rival modern instruments in their accuracy and far exceed them in their longevity and maintenance-free operation. Modern visitors to these ancient sites often report a sense of profound peace and connection to the past, as if the stones themselves retain something of the meditative patience that informed their construction. The careful positioning and enduring presence of these monuments create spaces where the hurried pace of contemporary life naturally slows, inviting contemplation of the longer rhythms that governed our ancestors' lives and continue to influence our world today. The survival of these stone calendars through 4 millennia of weather, warfare, and social change testifies to both their robust construction and the deep respect accorded to them by successive generations. Even when the original astronomical knowledge was lost or forgotten, local communities often continued to protect and maintain the stone circles, recognizing them as important heritage sites that connected them to their ancestral past. Archaeological investigation continues to reveal new aspects of Celtic astronomical sophistication, From complex lunar calculations encoded in stone arrangements to sophisticated understanding of planetary movements that rivals the achievements of classical Greek astronomers. Each new discovery adds to our appreciation of the intellectual achievements represented by these silent monuments, reminding us that ancient communities possessed both the theoretical knowledge and practical skills necessary to create instruments of lasting scientific value. The Celtic astronomical calendar stones remind us that precision and patience can create lasting achievements that transcend the brief span of individual lives. In our age of rapid technological change and instant communication, these ancient monuments offer a different model of human accomplishment, one based on careful observation, collective effort, and commitment to serving future generations through patient, precise work. As we conclude our gentle journey among these ancient timepieces, imagine yourself standing in the pre-dawn darkness at one of these stone circles, waiting for the moment when the rising sun aligns perfectly with stones positioned by Celtic astronomers thousands of years ago. Feel the connection across the millennia to those patient observers who created these enduring calendars, and appreciate the quiet wisdom embedded in stone monuments that continue their faithful service to this day. The Celtic Astronomical calendar stones offer us more than historical curiosity. They provide a model of human achievement based on harmony with natural cycles, patient observation, and commitment to precision that serves communities across generations. In their enduring silence, they speak eloquently of the possibility for human work to transcend the brief span of individual lives and create lasting benefits for countless future generations. If you found this journey through ancient Celtic astronomy peaceful and enlightening, consider subscribing to Quiet Night Chronicles for more restful explorations of humanity's patient achievements. Until next time, may your own observations be precise, your patience deep, and your sleep as peaceful as the eternal vigil of the stone.